that's just how it's
That
going to
one's
be.
that way.
Okay, so we've still got a few minutes, but we could just turn on and have a chit chat.
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay. Go live. 3, 2, 1.
Oh wow, this is
general. This is
bright.
Good. This is less good, interestingly. But there we go. We'll just kind of hang on. We're ready. I think.
Come and join us. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Is anybody there? Live on Google Live and for the first time, YouTube
Live too. Yeah,
which decides to play ball this week.
We're all learning. It's like your grandmother learning how to Zoom, basically, isn't it? So
open up to thousands of people, well, millions of people out there.
Yes,
enjoying drinking wine. The sun is out. We've had lashings of wet rain. What did you see today?
I saw, and I might mention this again later. I saw an aeroplane get struck by lightning. Driving down the Lower Richmond Road, South Circular, and there was this forked lightning. This plane appeared out of the clouds, and the lightning kind of appeared to deflect off it. It was amazing. It was amazing. Kind of scary. Glad I'm not flying. Don't want to fly.
Wonder who was that in there.
Anyway, hi Penny. Welcome. Nice to see you.
Evening all. Evening all. Lovely to see you. Oh, we've gone. We're back. We're gone. We're back. Hannibal Brown here.
We're
What's
here.
the date? Thursday. Last day of April today. 30 days past September. April the 30th. Happy birthday, Captain Tom or Colonel Tom.
Yeah. Happy birthday, my
mum. Your mum. Sharing in a group.
And everyone else who's got a birthday on the 30th of April.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Hi, Fran. Just arrived. Nice to see you.
Hello, Fran. TikTok.
We've got some canapes ready. I hope you have. Oh, sorry, Finn. So, a quick intro whilst we're waiting for people to turn up. Hannibal Brown, in case you didn't know.
In our jackets today, it's a little bit nippy out there, Finn.
So your local. I'm Jude.
This is Finn.
Finn was waiting for him to say
He's the star.
Yeah, he's the star of the show.
And I'm just here to make up the numbers. I'm Pam.
And this is Pam. And yeah, Hannibal Brown. We're essentially an artisan wine merchant, but we work in the ether and deliver all over the country. But we love our small producers, organic if possible, but if not, then nearly organic. And we love.
So this is hang on. This is the third Thursday.
Yes, I think it could be.
So we've been doing these pretty much since the lockdown started, and who knows whether we carry on after the lockdown. But we'll see. Maybe. We'll see.
If you guys
give us some feedback.
Yeah, if people come and want to drink wine and eat canapes with us from their own home, then we'll be happy, and Finn will also, won't you, Finn?
So we've been doing these little easy chit chats on a Thursday evening at 7:00, and also we introduced a couple of weeks ago a Sunday evening 6:00, which is an opportunity to just have a little glass of wine together, and we talk generically.
Sunday slurp.
We've done Sunday slurp. We've done all about France. What's it all about? We did a little bit of South Africa last week.
Yeah, that was great.
And this Sunday is going to be drum roll.
It's all about the sun. It's
Rosé
day. So all you need to do is grab a glass of rosé. But there's two in particular we're going to be tasting. So obviously feel free to grab those too. But speaking of glasses.
And speaking of South Africa. Oh, sorry. Here we go.
It's Thursday evening after all. Cheers, everybody.
Hang on. Let's sort him out.
Cheers, everybody. Cheers, Finn.
Cheers, Finn. There you go.
Give him a bit more of a tilt.
Oh, he doesn't like that.
Oh, come on, I like that for you.
Poor old Finn got freaked out by the thunder today. He doesn't like thunder.
He's a fuss pot.
He is a fun spot. Well, we'll leave that there for him.
You can have that later.
The news of the day is a little roundup. So on Sunday or last Thursday, I announced that South Africa had shut its doors and basically postponed all future exports of wine out of South Africa. So they'd literally pulled the plug on everything. Well, the news is today that they've changed their minds and South Africa is now again open for business and will start exporting pretty damn quick, if you ask me.
Excellent.
So there's been a blip. They've not been able to export for about 3 or 4 weeks. So we might see a little bit of a turn on availability for a short length of time, but it'll pick up again. And hey, we like South Africa.
So panic over. We're not running out. Just a few hellos, actually, because We've got the
Cheers,
Wahlbergs joined
Wahlbergs.
us. Nice to see you.
From up north.
Rachel back again with the
Good
wines,
evening,
I
Rachel
hope.
True. Nice to see you.
Luke and Simon, great that you're here.
Good
Hope you've done
evening,
some
Luke.
cooking.
Port now. We have
Mark. Mark Peter Watson, Izzard.
That's
Hello.
a name. That's a name. I like that, Mark Peter Watson.
And Sam, of course, who I've already
And
seen
PWI.
that the canapes are ready there.
Yeah. So this evening,
yeah.
we are talking about 2 wines, some of which, some of you may have the wines and some of you may not. Doesn't matter if you haven't got them, just grab a glass of something you enjoy. But we're going to talk about this little chappie first.
Impossible to see the label with the lights, unfortunately.
Here it comes.
Oh, there you go. Yeah,
the Petit Bourgeois from Henri Bourgeois in the Loire Valley, better known as Sauvignon Blanc. So, the Loire. Who's been to the Loire? Hands up.
Well, cheers from France. Hi,
Cheers
Vicky.
from France. Hi.
Cheers.
Bonsoir, Vicky.
Staines have checked in, and Kerry is in the room again. Nice to see you again.
A nice good evening to Finn. So, yes, tell us about Loire.
Okay, well, so shoe on other foot. So the Loire is a region in France, let's say like Hertfordshire is to the UK, probably a bit nicer, arguably. And there's various little towns within the Loire, just like Burgundy, which all these very, very famous wines are named after. But nobody really knows what they are or what's inside the bottle, because once again, you have your name of the village, and it doesn't actually tell you what grape variety you're drinking. Right?
Although this guy, Henri Bourgeois, got, as I mentioned on last Thursday, I think, he's kind of come into the 21st century and has actually, clever chap, put the grape variety on there and his name. Sorry, I'm doing this because we've got YouTube and Facebook. Who's going to win?
Check us out. Check us out. Bear with us, YouTube. We're still getting used to you.
Yeah. But so Sauvignon Blanc. But the key is, where's it from? Henri Bourgeois has his vineyards in.
So it's in the Loire. It's a village in the Loire that everybody will know. And lots of people say, oh, I love Sancerre. So
Sancerre is a tiny little village. I have to say, it's not the prettiest village, but it is nevertheless a village. But known at the end of the day for its Sauvignon Blanc. Right next door to Sancerre is another lovely little village called Pouilly-Fumé. Now here's the question: Pouilly-Fumé and Sancerre. We've all heard the names. What's the difference? They are literally over the road from one another, but there's a fundamental difference between the two of them.
Ooh,
and if I tell you a little bit about the sort of characteristics, the sort of generic characteristics of Sancerre, which are sort of more about the minerality and the sort of nice sort of like zestiness of the wines. Pouilly-Fumé, think fumé, that's the key, have a little bit more, what's the word? Sort of like smokiness
rounded
to it. Just a real tad, just a tad of smokiness. And you've got to remember that Sancerre and Pouilly-Fumé, they are 2 little villages in the Loire Valley, but they're actually only an hour from Chablis, which arguably you would think would be on the east side of Spain. Who said Spain? It's been a long day. Of France. But actually, there's only about an hour's difference. Depends, of course, how quickly you drive.
And if you want to pay the
drive
toll.
like a French person. Is it Vicky?
Yes, Vicky will.
Maybe it's just half an hour.
Sam's got a good point. Yeah, where one's more expensive. Well,
indeed, it is. Indeed, it is.
Always the way.
So that is down to the sort of the regulations of Sancerre, the DOC, if you like, the Denomination d'Origine, which stipulates that certain sort of, well, they've got all sorts of different stipulations, various different hoops that you have to jump through in order to be designated Sancerre. This chap that we're drinking this evening, the Petit Bourgeois Sauvignon Blanc, it's grown in the Sancerre region, but it's not designated Sancerre. So that means it's, to all intents and purposes, it's exactly like a Sancerre, but it doesn't carry the price tag. And so the point being is that this wine is £13.20.
Bargain.
His Henri Bourgeois Sancerre, which is also on the HannibalBrown.com website, is, what is it? It's something like 22.50 or something like that.
Which incidentally is still a bargain because it really is a fantastic wine.
Oh, so, we're running battery low.
Excuse me a moment.
So Sancerre made from Sauvignon, but I want to know, here's your starter for 10. What is the other main grape in the Loire region? Now everybody should know this. So I want a drum roll. What's going on? Oh, here we go.
Everybody. Sorry about this.
Here we go. Very important.
Highly unprofessional.
Whilst we're talking about that, don't forget to share. Please share this with your friends if you enjoy the evenings. Hopla!
Oh, shit.
Have we lost it? Oh!
Shit. Oh, sorry.
Well, YouTube people, we're still with you. We're just going to get Facebook back. So the question was, anybody know what that other grape variety is? It's Chenin Blanc. And Chenin Blanc is known across the world, but actually its home is in Sancerre, in the Loire Valley. Can you hold on just 2 ticks, YouTube people, whilst we sort ourselves out
Hang
here?
on, that is for some reason dying. Just, talk amongst yourselves, have a little drink, taste your canapes, and we'll be back with you in just a moment.
Yeah, I'll just keep chatting. So going back to the stylistically, the style of this wine, I choose always to put it with something with a little bit of sweetness, and that is, hang on, I'll grab one of these. A little beetroot and goat's cheese canopy. Now, what we try to do is balance the acidity in the wine with the acidity in the food. A lot of people don't realise, but actually goat's cheese has actually got quite high acidity. So when the goat's cheese balances with the, it balances the wine, the two of them come together, neutralise, and you end up with a sort of kind of like a marriage made in hell. Heaven.
Freudian slip. It's lovely, really. Right, sorry, folks. My goodness.
They're back.
We're getting there. We're getting there. What a disaster. What a
Is
disaster.
everybody there?
Need to
hold on 2 ticks. Okay, we're there. We're there. Jude, it's not
at the ceiling. Just bear with me.
Sorry, YouTube listeners. We are novices at this.
Just stick with us a moment.
But anyway, going back to it. So if you have an acidic wine, and Sauvignon Blanc is by definition quite acidic, you need to marry it with acidity in food. So think tomato vinaigrettes, anything, any fruit, anything with tomato, anything with a really high acidity is going to work well. And as I said, it's unusual to find. It becomes as a bit of a surprise that people don't necessarily know that there's so much acidity in cheese. But that is why cheese goes so well with white wines, because of that acidity level. So, are we there?
We're nearly there.
Are we there?
Right, sorry, folks. What a disaster.
Are we there? We're there. Hello.
I think we're there. Right, I'm sorry. Apologies. It's all new stuff for us, really, isn't it? This technology.
Tinkering on the edge of technology.
Like I say, just think of your parents with their Zoom calls. We're all struggling. Sorry, even Finn's sort of got bored waiting. But we were just talking about canapes, actually. So we have our lovely Sauvignon Blanc, and I know that some of you, if not a lot of you, have made the canapes. So we're just gonna have a little chat about those and get everyone to kind of get involved and eat them, whilst we just wait for everyone to arrive again, because we have had a little issue with power.
Well, here's the thing. So we're talking about Sancerre. So did you know that you also get red Sancerre? And here's the question. Does anybody know the grape variety that's used to produce red Sancerre?
Out in the ether.
Well, I'm going to tell people because YouTube are listening.
Okay.
And they don't have the opportunity to ask us a question. It's actually Pinot Noir. Now, red Sancerre is delicious. It's beautifully light, wonderful for drinking in the summer months. Mm-hmm. You can chill it if you want to, because there's sufficient fruit in that Pinot Noir to make it just a lovely, lovely light chilled
easy
wine.
drinking red wine. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just whilst we're talking, thank you everyone who's joining us back again. Sorry about that, bit of a disaster on the power front.
Dog's not bothered, are you, doggy? Here you go. Here, have one of those. There's a good chat.
So where we're at, we've got our little canapes here. I've slightly deviated from the recipe because I found some really nice, they're vegan beetroot crisps. And I thought actually they'll be a really good little base for this. So we've got the vegan beetroot crisp with a layer of goat's cheese and then the soy infused goat's cheese on top. And I just popped a little coriander leaf on because it looks pretty and gives it some colour. So would you like
And
that?
I was just saying, yes, I
you?
will have one. Yes, thank you very much. And I was just saying the importance of marrying acidity in the wine, Sauvignon Blanc being naturally high in acidity, with acidity in the food.
Yeah.
And many people aren't aware of this, that you actually do have quite high acidity levels in cheese, and particularly in goat's cheese. So the two of them come together, marry, and basically create this, as I said, match made in heaven. So, cheers. Cheers. So the other main grape variety of the Loire region is
Chenin Blanc.
Chenin Blanc.
Ew.
Everybody knows Chenin Blanc. We talked long and hard about Chenin Blanc on Sunday evening because it's such a it is sort of the main white grape variety in South Africa. But Chenin Blanc is, whoopsie.
Sorry.
Chenin Blanc is used to make white wine, dry whites, and also pudding wines. So the pudding wines that come from the Loire Valley on Bonzo or Cap de Chaume, and these are, when I say pudding wines, these are really seriously pudding wines.
Yeah.
They don't tend to come out in full-size bottles. They tend to be in half bottles. They are expensive and they are delicious, but you have to have the opportunity. Yeah.
So thanks again for rejoining us, guys. Sorry about the slight technical issues. That was one of those that you just learn by doing and then you won't do again.
but actually, aside from Sancerre, what is probably the most famous wine that comes from the Loire Valley?
Okay, over to you guys. The most famous wine from the Loire Valley.
Everybody knows it. Big in the 80s, big in the 90s, big in the 21st century too.
So big.
And I love it.
So big. Okay, what is it?
And arguably still very good value because it's a bit of a lost soul. It did used to be very big. It is.
It is.
Muscadet.
Ooh, yeah.
Muscadet.
I've just got a mild concern that we might be on our sides, but we'll stick with it and just see how we get on. So thank you for rejoining us. Again, we were talking about the beetroot and goat's cheese, the acidic element of the canapé and how well it goes with the wine. And it'd be really nice to know, have you guys got the canapés? I know I've seen a picture of right. Sorry, this is there we go. Okay, so moving Pam.
Hi. Technology is not helping this evening.
We've had to go with the mobile phone option because we have had a power issue. So hopefully we'll just figure it out.
It worked. Okay.
Okay, sorry about that. And thank you for being patient. Anyway, it's good to see from a different angle because these days get repetitive anyway, don't they? There we go. Okay, so the beetroot canapé. Who's got it? Who likes the combination? And actually, I'm always interested to know this. Who doesn't like the combination? So Finn would like it, but he can have a normal biscuit. He's a good boy. So I think they marry really well because we've actually got the baby beetroot that you get in the jar. This is tough times from a grocery shopping perspective. So they're sliced but slightly pickled, so they've got a vinaigreenness.
Yes.
And then with the soy as well.
Yeah.
I think that works really well.
I do, and I tell you what, that tiny little coriander leaf on the top actually makes a massive difference.
Yeah.
And I'm really, really pleased to tell you. So the chap who produces this wine, his name Henri Bourgeois. He's a proper guru. He really sort of set the world on fire in the Sancerre region in the 1950s. And since then, his sons have taken over. But he suggests this wine with Chavignon goat's cheese.
There you go. I knew I was onto something.
He also suggests it with halibut in lemon sauce. Ooh la la.
We could have put that out there. Tricky.
And for the South Africans, Kinclip Carpaccio.
Kinclip.
Yep.
Okay. Are the Wahlbergs still with us?
He also submits his wines into various different competitions, and he won gold in 2016 in the Concours Mondial, which is a massive thing in France.
Oh, fab. There you go. So he knows what he's doing. And when we choose our wines, we have to go on a few things. Taste is the number one most important, but also very close to that is it worth the price tag?
Yeah.
And actually, as a non-Sancerre at £13 a bottle or wherever we're at, I think that's great value and I love it.
I also, another point, Henri Bourgeois, in more recent years, and we haven't got it at the moment, but I think he probably got a bit bored of the Loire. And he buggered off to New Zealand and set up shop in New Zealand. So he now produces, he's got quite a big parcel of land in New Zealand, and he's now producing Sauvignon Blanc and Pinot Noir in New Zealand. Now, we used to stock this, so anybody's interested, give us a nudge and we will get it back in. Because it was good, and I don't really know why we're not doing it anymore. But
it's very good. And wines from New Zealand are definitely on the up from a popularity perspective.
Yeah.
So just going to go back, for those of you who didn't hear the answer, and who have managed to rejoin us after the disaster that was the Battery Gate. The other main white grape variety in the Loire, in fact, the main. So this is a Sauvignon Blanc, and which there is quite a lot of Sauvignon Blanc grown there. But what is the main white grape variety?
I think we did answer it, didn't we?
Well, I think we answered it whilst we were still sort of in limbo land or purgatory or wherever we were for a wee while. So for those of you who didn't hear, hazard a guess. For those of you who did, don't say anything. Hi, James Harris. I think you managed to join us after our technical hitch. So,
and the other thing is, just going back to Muscadet.
Oh, yes.
Muscadet being probably the most famous wine that comes out of the Loire Valley. That's made out of a little grape variety called Melon, as in melon. Melon de Bourgogne. And the nice thing about Muscadet is we've got a couple of Muscadets on our list, I believe. If they're not, then again, nudge us and we'll put them on.
There's at least one.
Okay. But the nice thing about Muscadet is that they're pretty understated and undervalued. So you can generally get really good value for money with a Muscadet. Any fans of Muscadet, we want to hear from you, because if there are fans out there, then I for one, be quite happy to bowl into France as soon as the opportunity arises and go and
fill up the van.
Exactly.
It is great. It's one of those wines that you relate to the experience of being there as well. That's the only thing.
Yeah.
Like it's such an experiential thing. It's like seafood and shellfish on the West Coast kind of thing.
Yeah.
Okay. But fab. As we've had an answer from Wahlberg Walk, the Wahlbergs, Chenin Blanc.
So very good. Well done. Maybe they heard us say it.
Well, let's give them the benefit of the doubt and just say well done. Cheers.
Well done. Okay. Should we crack on with the next one?
Okay. Well, cheers, Finn. You want to say before we carry on?
Oh.
There you go. Oh, it's a messy glass, this one. Good boy. Okay.
Right.
Well, interested what you think about the beetroot thing. I think it's brilliant. So yeah, just
I think it's brilliant actually. Any of our tastings, and bear in mind that we do an awful lot of we generally do an awful lot of external tastings, and most 99% of the time we tend to use this canopy components, the beetroot and the goat's cheese with Sauvignon Blanc, and it goes really well with the Chilean Casas del Bosque Sauvignon Blanc as well. The Casas del Bosque Sauvignon Blanc is on the website, but equally goes great with this.
So you go with whether you like we love them both, because one is sort of classy and refined, and the other one is a big punch in the face of ripe Sauvignon Blanc. And there's a place for both. Sometimes you need a punch in the face, I believe.
Here's Samantha James. I love beetroot and goat's cheese so much. It's great. Please tell us where you got the beetroot crisps from.
Actually, do you know, I was delivering some wine to someone's house just near Battersea Power Station, right near Battersea Power Station. And there's a little shop there, which is a deli come expensive shop. And they have these beetroot crisps. And I thought, well, they sound quite interesting. Vegan, gluten-free, all of the make you live longer, elixir of eternal life. But actually make a really nice little canapé base. So you've got a little thinky beetroot biscuit, which is good. So I will send you the actual brand name once I've read the box. Cheers. I'm just going to have another one.
Yeah. Okay. So whilst Ju's doing that, I'm going to grab the red. And I'm just going to remind you that we're going to have a good old conversation about rosé on Sunday evening when we won't have any technological issues. Promise you that. It's going to be fun. Grab yourself a glass of rosé on Sunday evening. If you haven't got one from us, there's still time. And then also another shout out to say that actually we're still delivering all over the country. We're still getting our questions. It's strange, actually. People think Hannibal Brown, we're a local business, which is wonderful. Wimbledon,
we are. Yeah.
Wimbledon, Worcester Park, Surrey area. And we'll go to pains to get you your wine, if not the same day, the next day, and what have you. But we do have a service which is set up to deliver all over the country. We successfully sent a DIY tasting kit to Amsterdam this week.
International women
and
of
also
business.
these DIY tasting kits, which again are on the website. They're great if you are absolutely sick to the back teeth of this lockdown and you want to have a bit of a sort of quiz competition between yourself and your families or your neighbours and this, that, and the other.
Mm-hmm.
You basically all buy your DIY tasting kits and everything's there for you.
Yeah, it's great fun. It's great fun. But then you can always join us as well on Thursdays and Sundays. So you're just spoiled for choice.
Right then.
Right, onto the rouge. Now, from a canapé perspective, you're probably thinking that doesn't look like lamb and carrot and cumin puree, and it's true, it's not. Because we did a Zoom tasting just a matter of less than a week ago, and we had the lamb with carrot and cumin puree as the canapé with the tempranillo, and we just couldn't do it again. So we've actually gone shredded chicken, which is next week's canapé with the Pinot Noir.
Okay.
So that's what's sitting here in the cucumber, if you can see that.
Yeah.
And then on to the most important bit, the vino.
This little baby. There we go. So, Monsieur Pablo Urbina from the Rioja region. This is his 1999 Selección. So, 21 years old. This needs a lot of TLC. Now, we could have decanted it, but in actual fact, what we did, we rather actually just got a massive great glass and essentially decanted it into the glass. Now, so it's been shut down. It's been in its bottle for near on 20 years. What's most noticeable, because it's 21 years old, what is noticeable is the colour. And anybody who's got this open will see the sort of the bronzy brown sort of hues around it, which is essentially, this wine is old. It's old, but it is nowhere near past its sell-by date. Mm-hmm. And that's the wonderful thing about these Riojas. So Mr. Urbina came into our office, how long ago? About 18 months ago.
Yeah, a couple of years ago.
And truth be said, it was a Friday morning, 10 o'clock. We probably had a few drinks the evening before.
No.
And and he insisted on opening all of these wines at 10 a.m. on a Friday morning. And it was like, oh my God. And he opened his 1994 vintage, which is on the website.
Yeah, really good.
His 98, his 99, and his 2001, I think, at the time. Mm. And we were absolutely smitten instantly. The previous evening, he'd done a big dinner, and the food components that he put with each of these wines were very gamey. Mm-hmm. There was duck, there was pigeon,
partridge,
big flavors of earthy mushrooms, truffles, foie gras, all of that sort of big stuff to basically marry together or balance with the what's the word?
Flavors.
The flavors, I suppose. The flavors, the character of his wines. Well, we didn't have the food that morning, but I tell you what, we were two very happy people at 10
Yeah,
o'clock on
absolutely.
that
No,
Friday
that was fantastic. And I think the beauty is that you can buy the wines old and you don't have to sit and wait for them. I'm just going to pop back to comments here. Sam has done the veggie option of the lamb canapé, which is really good actually with aubergine, because aubergine is such a great meat substitute. And with the carrot and cumin puree, I think the thing that works really nicely is the earthiness of the cumin with that bit of oak that's
and it's got
in the wine.
It's got a bit of vanilla in it. If you put your nose in there and give it a good old snuff, you get a sort of earthiness and sort of vanilla. Here you go. There we go. Vanilla-y, sort of almost like coffee aromas.
Is everyone drinking the wine? I'd be really interested to know. And is everyone at the canapé? It's special, but you know, it's Thursday. We're all confined. We're joining together, and it's sociable, so it's still special.
Indeed. So this is not the sort of wine that you open every evening, but it's lovely. Hey, we're not spending our money on anything else at the moment, are we? Cheers.
So they've always farmed organically, but it's only in the recent years that they've actually got organic status. So on the labels of the older bottles, it doesn't say organic, but this wine is as clean as it comes, really. They're really conscious at Vina about their farming, how it affects the land, people, and any chemicals used, you know, bare minimum, if any.
What's interesting though is that so Pablo Urbina, he's a young guy. He's a really young guy, and he's jolly good looking as well. Look him up. This family, it's kind of unusual to find Riojas so old. And the fact is that these old wines, so the 1999, it was only actually released onto the market about 3 or 4 years ago. And that includes the 1994 as well, which we were also listing. Only released a few years ago onto the market, which basically means that the family have been sitting on their wines in their cellars for all this time, basically waiting for the right. Now they're ready. Now we want people to drink them. Because bear in mind, Rioja's stall is that when they hit the market, they are ready to drink. And these have been held back in the cellars for so long, which arguably is well, it's unbelievable, to be honest. It costs an awful lot of money to just sit on stock for that length of time. But these guys have done it.
Well, they've got a big cellar and a big bank
awful lot of money.
Big bank account, and they're not afraid to use them, which is great. So John is drinking the wine. Bernard King, cheers, Dad. Well
Good
done.
evening, Bernard King. Well done. Nice to meet you.
Is drinking regardless. Hi, Mel. We managed to get Mel's wines to her today, so she could join us. So I hope you had time to check out the canapes as well. We have the Wahlbergs on. Samantha Jones, Sam, enjoying the Rioja. Glad to hear it. It is a stunner. It's a wine that you can really enjoy. And actually,
it's a funny thing, Rioja. So Rioja is so popular and so successful for one, and the reason is it's oak content. And yet, when you flip that into white wine, people go, "Oh no, I don't want oak in my white wine." And yet, in Rioja, that is its reason for its success. It's the oak, the sort of vanilla-y smoothness that actually makes those wines so sort of attractive and sort of moorish. But this wine, it does need food. It does need food.
Yeah.
And I think with the lamb and
carrot and cumin puree should be a really good combo. Well, we've tried and tested it. It is a really good combo.
Yeah, it's an absolute sensation because of that deepness. The cucumber here might not work, but the chicken definitely works.
Okay, well, let's give it a go. We're on the shredded chicken for next week, which will go with the Pinot Noir. So.
Okay, so here's your starter for 10. Grape varieties, or the main grape variety used to produce Rioja. What is it? I'm wondering, am I looking at this one? Am I looking at this one? I'm looking at this one. Okay. You need to come into the screen a little bit because you're out of the screen.
I'm just eating my... So I think...
What's the grape variety used in Rioja, Finn? What is it?
I reckon, Sam, it would work really well with the aubergine. Actually, we've got quite a lot of cumin in this kitchen, and it's that earthiness of the cumin which really balances the kind of wittiness, the slight sort of grainy tannins of the wine.
Anything cuminy.
And really good together. Probably mushrooms would do the same thing.
Did you say aubergine? Yeah,
aubergine is the lamb replacement. And Dad's got a good point there. Lamb does go well with any wine. So, however, that would
we'll say any wine goes well with lamb.
Maybe maybe we'll have a Sunday session which is just about lamb.
Not with the rosés though.
No, not with the rosés. So Sunday is our rosé day. So we've got 2 rosés that we're going to be tasting. One is a German Pinot Noir rosé, which is stunning, and then our absolutely divine Olier Provence rosé. So John Boy got the answer.
Well done, John Boy.
Oh, hang on a minute. Oh, Rachel was in there first, I think.
Well done, Rachel. True.
Yeah, well done, Rachel. It's almost not just when you say it, but it's when we're looking. So it's a tricky one to win.
It is Tempranillo. That is the main grape variety in Rioja. Closely followed by Graciano, which is lesser known, and Garnacha or Grenache is better known. And this wine's got a little bit of all 3 in it. But mostly Tempranillo. But it doesn't really matter about the grape varieties. I mean, we kind of dwell on grape varieties.
It's a place
for
Rioja.
A generic thing. I've got to insist that you get good Rioja, you get amazing Rioja, and then you get some bloody awful Rioja, and it all still comes from the Tempranillo grape.
Oh, I thought you were going to say the supermarket.
Oh. But it is down to the individual producers, and that's key to everything that we do. At Hannibal Brown, we don't muck about. We just do the good stuff. The good producers who we know year after year produce really good, solid wines. They don't compromise on quality, and nor do we. Thank you very much.
Here we are. Let's have a little top up. So, who likes white Rioja? Who's had white Rioja? And another question which we might forget to answer, so we'll pick up again, is: does anybody know the white grape variety?
Oh my goodness!
White Rioja.
That's asking. Well,
But
whilst you think about that question, just a little bit about this wine. So, as you can see, it's showing a huge amount of sort of like bronzy colour, which is the age thing. We all change colour as we get older. Wine is no different. It's been aged in oak barrels for 14 months. So now you're thinking, well, what's it been doing since 1999? It's been sitting in its bottle in a cool cellar, just waiting until the opportune moment for it to get onto the market. So it's only had 14 months age in oak, but even that you can see, the imprints of the oak in the wine.
So that's a Criantha, and you'd think often with the younger Riojas, Criantha says to you, well, it's probably going to be a younger wine. But obviously with these older ones, it's more about how it's produced.
Yes.
So with the younger Criantha, when it's just been released, it could be 3 years old.
Yeah, and a lot more vibrant, a lot more sort of fruit orientated. We don't have a young Criantha, but we do have an amazing Reserva, which is called Rioja Gavanza, from a fantastic bodega, and that is 2015 vintage.
Yeah, it's really good.
Now, because it's a Reserva, compared to this wine, it's had a little bit longer in the oak barrels, and a couple of years in bottle before it was released. But it has already been released and it's already available.
Well worth a go. Fantastic.
Yeah, it is, and it's for 14 quid, it's an absolute snip.
Yeah,
it's a little bit more expensive, as we know.
But you get what you pay for.
You get what you pay for in this life.
Luke has come in with straight on with the answer. A slight spelling mistake, but we'll let you off. So Viura is the white Rioja.
It's the Welsh spelling.
Viura.
Right. From the valleys.
And Rachel was coming with Viura with the right spelling.
Yeah,
with the right spelling.
Spelling. Well done, Rachel.
Although it doesn't like white Rioja, which is a bit of a shame, actually. So we have 2 white Riojas, and they're very different to each other, and they're both sort of, I think one or the other would please everybody.
Yeah.
So the lighter one, which is a fresher, more modern style, hasn't had any oak and is a really nice, fruity, soft white wine.
Yeah,
dry white wine.
It is true to say that the laws of Rioja do say that white Rioja should spend a minimum of an element of the wine should spend a minimum of 6 months in oak barrels, just like its red counterparts. However, some of the supermarkets do actually have something they call, I've forgotten what it's called off the top of my head. What's it called? Joven, which means young. And these are, they're not really Riojas, or they are wines from the Rioja region, but they haven't seen any oak. So they've been produced in massive, great stainless steel tanks. So they are clean as a whistle, very fresh, an awful lot of character to them. So they're great for a year or so, but then after that, you need to move on. And they are not really true Rioja. So who was it? Sam Jones. I'd like to show you a little good white Rioja. She says she's a bit indifferent, so we'll show her something.
Yeah.
We'll introduce her something better.
That tasting when we're all allowed back out, but only within 2 arms reach of each other. At that tasting, we'll have a little Rioja section.
There's a wine on our website called Akemi, Akemi, which is a white Rioja, which has been barrel aged. Have a look at it, read the tasting note, and we might do a deal and get a bottle over to you pronto.
Yeah, John's put a good point there, which is Joven or Joven. It means young, and there you go. That's what it's all about.
Well done, John.
It's a young red wine.
Well done, John.
So I actually had a little question here, and I don't know if any of you have got any particular strong feelings about this, but what do you reckon? Screw or screw cap or cork?
Oh yes.
What? Why? Who rather which?
Thumbs up for screw cap. Thumbs down for cork, or the other way around.
So there's just going to be a load of thumbs, so we're not going to know. But why is our lovely non-Sancerre here under screw cap?
Well, it's a very good question, actually. Why is it? I don't know. We'd have to ask Henri Bourgeois.
But generally, I mean, when producers put a screw cap on their bottle, they're thinking, this is a wine that's going to be drunk young. It's not going to be cellared for years and years and years.
Correct.
So wine you're unlikely to find a sort of entry-level Chilean Sauvignon Blanc, which is for drinking now, with a cork in these days.
Yeah, because I mean, at the end of the day, it's pretty much 99% guaranteed that you're not going to have any problems with it.
Yeah,
which is ultimately where we came from. And I mean, there was one country that championed the screw cap back in the early 2000s.
Ooh, yes.
I think it was 2001. Who really were sick to death of having sort of duff cork being flown over from Portugal, and they were using it to sort of bottle up to what's the word? Cork their wines.
Yeah, close the wines.
You use them as the closures, and they were really, really struggling with corked problems. And everybody knows what cork wine tastes like. It's not very nice, and basically the wine is buggered. So there was a country, and it was New Zealand.
I was going to put
sorry.
What was the second? What was the second? Anyway, most people seem to be quite happy with the screw caps, and quite like the Wahlberg's comment, cork for old wine, screw the young, which is lovely. That's a sign of someone who's enjoying.
I like that. Yeah, screw cap, less catastrophes. It is true. However, you can get corked wine under screw cap. And the reason being is that the wine has already been tainted before it was bottled, and therefore it should never have been bottled. It has been near a kind of like a wood container of some sort, and therefore the wine was already compromised before it was bottled. But it does happen. My best story, in actual fact, and it happened on more than one occasion, was I had a corked gin and tonic, and I couldn't believe it the first time I had a gin and tonic, and I tasted it and went, "My God, it's corked! How on earth is that?" And the reason was it was the little cocktail stick in the wine, in the gin and tonic, that was tainted with the taints that you get. The same taint that you get in wine,
which is a bacteria of some description.
Yeah, and it happened more than once. So beware of cocktail sticks in your gin and tonic.
Yeah, and I have a feeling I've had the same in a coffee where you've got a wooden stirrer in recent years, actually. So it's pretty grim.
Yeah, so watch out for these stirrers.
Yeah. Speaking of stirrers, Sam Jones here, no offense, Sam has commented and she said, isn't there a worldwide cork shortage? So shouldn't producers be mindful of sustainability and look for options and depends on the wine? And actually, I think the wonderful thing about cork, and I don't know if there is a massively worldwide cork shortage.
I think you're right, Sam. There was, but actually, it's overcome. Well, who knows in current situation that it had overcome those problems. Although there does seem to be a really good balance in the world where screw cap technology has taken on a raison d'etre, which is it's great for young wines, really great for young wines that are going to get turned over quickly. So going back to your supermarket wines, the screw cap wine, if you had two of these wines, so if you had an Henri Bourgeois Sauvignon Blanc under screw cap and another one, identical wine from Henri Bourgeois under a cork, the screw cap would always be the fresher. And that's important. That's important, and that's why the supermarkets use it, because it retains the freshness more. It retains freshness, and it means the wines are more ready to drink quicker.
Another good point.
So I think there's space for both.
Another good point that John just made was that I think it was regarding the corked. The wine with a screw cap that can still be corked. Yeah, if it had a cork, it would have been corked. If it had a screw cap, it would have been corked. It was corked before the top
Correct.
On, basically.
Correct.
But it's kind of an interesting one because corked. Do
you know what I think? I think we should have a conversation about corks.
Okay.
Not right now.
Well, actually, there's a good question from the Wallbirds.
Not right now, but we'll have a 20-minute conversation about corks in a few weeks' time.
We'll do that. We've got lots of corks.
Yeah.
Why do some wines that are old get corked? Is it just air getting in? And is it better for longevity to be plastic, apart from for the oceans? So, or as in screw cap. So it's quite a good question, actually. And it's actually wines that go downhill when they're too old. It's not that they're corked, is it?
Okay, so the key to that question is that actually, if you store your wine well, the cork should never be compromised. So that means keep it in a really good atmosphere. So not too hot, not too cold, not too dry, not too moist. So 10, 11 degrees cellar with all the perfect sort of connotations. It's going to keep your cork nice and moist, which keeps it nice and spongy, which means it'll be a perfect closure in the glass. If that cork starts drying out, then it'll become brittle, and then it is compromised, and then air gets in, and you will end up with an oxidized wine, which is essentially it starts turning to vinegar. Yeah,
so which is different to corked wines. The cork is actually bacteria that makes it taste like dirt, and the oxidation is the salad dressing effect.
So key is, if you're going to have old wines, you've got to keep them in perfect nick, like this 1999, which has been kept in perfect nick thanks to the fact that actually it was the Spaniards that kept it in the original cellar by the producer. So guaranteed you're not going to be disappointed by that one.
It seems like the Rioja has generally been pretty popular, and I hope it has gone nicely with the aubergine and the carrot and cumin puree and the lamb.
Excellent. So going back to the Urbina, so this is the 1999. We have also the 1994 Grand Reserva, which is a bit eye-wateringly expensive. However, 1994 is considered to be the best vintage ever in Spain. It's
a stunning wine, and it's ready to go.
If you like this, the 1994 is going to even be more of a kind of like a put your woolly on. And
it's got that extra time in oak. It's a bigger wine. It's a bolder fruit went into it at the start, probably.
That's right. And then we've also got the 2006, which we drank not that long ago, and it was delicious.
Lovely. Yeah,
a lot younger and a lot more fruit, vibrance, I seem to remember.
Yes, because it's brighter. When Pam says eye-watering, just so you know, thanks Sam for the nudge, it's around £30 a bottle.
Yeah, nothing's eye-watering at Hannibal Brown.
If you look at a bottle of Chateauneuf du Pape, which is only just about ready and only just about drinkable, it's going to be for another £10 on top of that.
I know.
And this is a stunning Grand Reserve Rioja, so it's well worth.
And as I said, we're not spending our money on anything else at the moment. So buy your very fancy wines at handlebrand.com.
So just going to quickly move on to next week. Oh, actually Sunday. So Sunday, the sun's going to come out. We're all going to be in our gardens, and it's Rosé Day. So 6 o'clock on both Facebook Live and YouTube Live, we're going to be talking everything rosé, from how it's made, where it comes from, where the really awful stuff is found, and where you can find the good stuff, and how you can kind of pick, maybe even how you can pick a good one in the supermarket. Not Blossom Hill, not Jacob's Creek, not Zinfandel. Okay. And then next Thursday we've got our David and Goliath. So the canapes are on the website already. We'll put a link to those to that page. The David and Goliath tasting is the tasting of red wines. So David he's
a little dancer on the sideline, and Goliath is
a big monster. And they're both lovely. So we have a Pinot Noir at one end, a German Pinot Noir at one end. Sorry, hang on. I just remembered on the Rioja answer. German Pinot Noir at one end, and a big Chilean Grand Reserve Syrah at the other end. Both with some really good canapes to pair with them. So that'll be a real good one to get the food ready for.
Yeah.
Tempranillo was the red Rioja grape. I can't remember whether we actually said that, but Tempranillo was. So whoever got that first, well done.
Just going to answer a question coming in from Mr. Wahlberg, which is, sorry to be a bore. When wine tastes like vinegar, is it corked? And what is a wet versus a dry cellar? So when wine tastes like vinegar, no, it's not corked. Basically, the cork has been compromised and it's allowed air to get into the wine. So the actual effect of air is oxidizing the wine, and the wine then starts almost, it doesn't really ferment, but it actually takes on sort of acetic bacteria, and it becomes almost like vinegar. So it's not corked, it's oxidized. Corked wine is when there's actually a flaw in the cork, and the cork has actually been compromised by a bacteria forming of some sort, and it taints the taste of the wine. Yeah. So the two different issues, two different problems.
Yeah, faults.
Two different faults.
So thanks everyone for joining us. I think it's probably time to sign out and for everyone to eat a slightly larger mouthful than just a wee bite. Sorry about the technical issues once again. That was a proper disaster. It won't happen again. Hopefully you'll all join us on Sunday with Rosé. Do pass it on. Have a Zoom call and us on in the background wittering on about how rosé is made. It was lovely that so many of you could come and view, and thank you very much for rejoining. Finn says goodbye.
Bye, Finn. Share. That's all I have to say. Anything else?
Cheers, everybody.
Okay, cheers. Nice to see you.
Chin-chin.
That's it. It's a wrap. Oh dear. That's all right.
Just say goodbye to YouTube.
Oh, bye. You're still there too.
Bye, YouTube. Let's not forget about you.
Thanks for joining us. See you Sunday.